Okay, since no one's going to say it, I'm going to say it. Let's just call it what it is. This Trump administration isn't some showcase of brilliance or strategy or moral authority. It is a showcase of white mediocrity, broadcast for the entire world to see. If you think about it, they scream about being the greatest. They scream about being the smartest, the most patriotic. But when the spotlight hits them, what do we see? Corruption, incompetence, lies stacked on top of lies. A government so insecure it has to redraw maps, it has to silence voters, it has to attack its own citizens just to hold on to power. And the world is watching. Countries overseas are looking at America, shaking their heads, saying, "This is America? This is what we were told was the standard for democracy?" Because for centuries, whiteness carried itself alongside synonymous with excellence, while dismissing black and brown excellence as inferior. But Trump's administration has blown that myth to pieces because globally, people see it now. Whiteness in power doesn't guarantee wisdom. It doesn't guarantee justice. It doesn't even guarantee competence. All it guarantees is access. Access, handed down through a rigged system that protects mediocrity as long as it wears the right skin. So let's be clear. This ain't about every white person, but it is about the fact that Trump has exposed the truth that the old story of white superiority was never superiority at all. It was all smoke and mirrors. And now the smoke has cleared. So what comes next, right? If America wants respect on the world stage again, it won't come through Trump. It won't come through clinging to whiteness. It will come through honesty, justice, and multiracial democracy that values talent, not skin. Because the global stage just learned what we've always known. When you strip away the privilege, white mediocrity can't hold a candle to black excellence.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So a lot of people say that Trump didn't create racism, that he pretty much just exposed it, right? His presidency didn't invent division. It just made people feel bold enough to show who they really are, right? And they say that love him or hate him, he pulled the curtain back on a side of America many people try to pretend didn't exist. And sometimes the truth is uncomfortable, but it's necessary. But I don't know, do you think that is true? Do you think it's the truth? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for tapping in where you saw this. Credit goes to all original creators. Let's watch and we'll be back with some commentary.
See, what Donald Duck doesn't realize is he's not just damaging America's politics, he's actually damaging white America's reputation around the world. Because for centuries, black folks have been out here trying to clean up that image. We've been the bridge, right? The reason why people in Africa and the Caribbean and South America and even Europe still gave America a chance because they saw us. They saw our soul. They saw our music. They saw our forgiveness and our strength. And they said, if those people can still love America after everything it's done to them, maybe America isn't all that bad. Black people humanized this country, right? We softened how the world saw white people through our grace, through our creativity and our endurance. We made America look civilized. We made it look like progress was possible. But then Trump came along and he ripped that mask off, right? He's exposing the same hate and the greed and the cruelty that we've been warning about for generations. Now the world sees it, live and unfiltered, the arrogance, the racism, the authoritarianism, all of it on full display. While black people were out here trying to build bridges, Trump's been out here burning them down. While we were trying to heal the image of white America, he's been proving every stereotype right. That power corrupts, that whiteness unchecked turns violent, that America's greatness was built on domination, not democracy. So now the world ain't just looking at us like the victims anymore. They're looking at y'all like the threat. And that's the irony in all of this. For centuries, we've carried the burden of proving America had humanity. Now Trump's making the world question if it ever did.
I got an unpopular opinion, but I think that Donald Trump might be the best thing that ever happened to America. And I'm not trolling. Hear me out. See, I didn't say that because I support his politics or praise his policies. I said it because for the first time in a long time, America is being forced to look at itself in the mirror, and it's extremely uncomfortable. Ugly, messy, but necessary. See, Trump didn't invent division, racism, or greed. He just ripped the bandage off the wound that the country's been pretending doesn't exist. And in doing so, he made people who were asleep finally wake up. He made people start asking real questions. Why are rights being stripped away? Why is truth under attack? Why are so many clinging to power when the rest of us can barely afford rent or mortgage? See, this is not about loving or hating Donald Trump. This is about understanding that the chaos that is Trump exposed the fractures in our foundation. And sometimes you got to break it to rebuild it stronger. And now maybe, just maybe, we'll finally have the discussions about race, history, class, democracy that everybody's been avoiding for decades. So go ahead and go drop a comment. Agree, disagree with me, educate me, whatever you want. Because if we don't talk about it now, when will we?
All right. I can't really prove it. Like, this is a wild theory, but I do also feel like this government shutdown is another attempt by Donald Trump to force the hand of the American people, make American folks go outside, do something reckless that makes him then go on TV and say Insurrection Act immediately. I think it's another play at that. Right? November 1st, 40 million Americans are off SNAP benefits. Ain't no food in the crib. Grocery prices immediately go up. Millions of Americans also lose their health insurance. And as he squeezes us continually, he's anticipating that people are going to go outside and have an adverse reaction. And Trump is anticipating that you white folks are the ones who crash out. Because white folks, I don't know if y'all really get it yet. Some of y'all do, but so many of you do not. That man hates your guts. And while a lot of y'all take glee in how much he hates us, he still hasn't forgiven so many of you for what happened to him in 2020. When he couldn't take that L like an adult and like a man, and he staged a coup. And he spent then the next 4 years campaigning on we must defeat the enemy from within. He wasn't just talking about liberals, leftists, libtards, socialists. He was lumping your asses into that too. And he needs a reaction. Because he hasn't been able to get one from black folk, hasn't been able to get one from the immigrants, the Latin folk. He hasn't been able to get one from the LGBTQ community. He is anticipating that y'all are as sensitive and as soft and as weak as him. And so that y'all go outside and crash out. And sure, he doesn't want really people knowing that he was a little freakazoid with Jeffrey Epstein, but more to the point, he got to get this dictator fantasy off. Because Stephen Miller and all them people behind him know this man ain't meant much more for this world. So we got to get this shit cracking now. Okay? Once again, more unfulfilled promises by Donald Trump, and now he's taking y'all's food away. He hated your guts the entire time. And one way or the other, white folk who still rock with this man, you will have to find out what community is. Because the community is not up top and them billionaires who don't give a fuck about you. It is, whether you like it or not, the people down below who've been telling you what it was the entire time.
All right, so look, Donald Trump has officially exposed the lie of white supremacy. And he has exposed the lies of capitalism and the hypocrisy of America. You see, while white America crowned Donald Trump as their chosen leader, they said he was supposed to be this billionaire businessman that was going to fix everything. He's supposed to be some self-proclaimed genius, yet he can't even read a teleprompter without fumbling over his own words. He was supposed to drain the swamp, but instead all he did was flood it with more corruption, with more grifters, and more backroom deals than ever before. That was my Trump voice. Than ever before. I don't really have a good Trump impersonation. But he promised to bring jobs back to American soil. Remember that? There's supposed to be a big manufacturing boom. The steel plants were supposed to be reopening. The American factories were supposed to be back in business. But what do we get? We got tariffs that backfired. And the tariffs crushed small businesses. And the tariffs sparked a trade war that made American farmers and factory workers collateral damage. He claimed to be the savior of the working class, yet his policies handed billionaires tax cuts, while everyday American citizens watched their wages shrink and their jobs vanish. And the final insult, Trump's final middle finger to the American citizens, it was the executive order that he passed the other day to accelerate the innovation of AI technologies. His executive orders that greenlit AI automation, which will inevitably fast-track the destruction of all these jobs. He's pushing them to make more AI and do it faster. And we already know that AI is taking jobs. So what you think is going to happen with all these AI innovations? So while people beg for work, while American citizens begged for work, Trump was busy helping corporations replace American citizens with machines. And you have to understand that hypocrisy is not a flaw with Trump. It is his entire personality. He is built like that. He was talking all that shit about Wall Street. At the same time, he filled his cabinet with Goldman Sachs alumni. He always gets on TV talking about law and order, while he himself is knee-deep in lawsuits, indictments, and connections to Jeffrey Epstein's child trafficking ring. Let's not forget, so-called leader of the free world is on the Jeffrey Epstein client list. That alone should have been disqualifying. But instead, his MAGA supporters chose to brush it off. Because as long as he was owning the libs, then his MAGA supporters did not care if he was partying on Pedophile Island. Not to mention, while America is drowning in debt, sickness, and social collapse, Trump is out here golfing. Trump is out here tweeting and selling $99 NFT cards of him in superhero costumes. This is who y'all put in charge? He didn't lead. He escaped. He escaped accountability. He escaped responsibility. And his MAGA followers cheered him on while the ground crumbled beneath his feet. And what did I tell you about the train thing? I swear every video, when I get to the middle of the train, it gotta be a sign. He didn't make America great again. He made it irrelevant. He made America a global joke. He didn't defeat American enemies. He exposed that America's worst enemy is its own arrogance. Here we go. All right, where was I at? Oh yeah, Trump exposed how America's worst enemy is its own arrogance. Nobody or nothing could have taken this country down faster than Trump's incompetence. And the wildest part, he told you who he was from day one. He bragged about not paying taxes, about grabbing women without consent. He bragged about being corrupt. He was never hiding. America just didn't want to see it. Now, here we are, a nation built on the lie of white supremacy, embarrassed on the world stage by the very man they appointed to be a symbol of their greatness. Well, I'll tell you, America, you should be ashamed. This is who you put in charge. This is your king. Just know that the world is laughing.
Again, I'm getting flooded with white men telling me their fairy tales that the position they hold economically and in business and society is because of their hard work. But that myth is quickly betrayed by an examination of Trump's administration. Trump has bragged that he is appointing the best people, but he appointed a former wrestling executive, Linda McComb, to lead the Department of Education. Yes, wrestling executive. She graduated from East Carolina University with a degree in French. He appointed Tulsi Gabbard as his Director of National Intelligence. The law creating the position requires a candidate to have extensive national security expertise. She has essentially none. She graduated from Hawaii Pacific University with a degree in business administration. The director of the FBI, Kash Patel, a graduate of the University of Richmond and Pace University Law School, ranked 141 out of 195 law schools in the U.S. The U.S. Attorney General, Pam Bondi, a graduate of Stetson Law School, 99th out of the 195 law schools in the U.S. And don't forget former Fox News host and current Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. He has no experience of managing an organization of any significant size, was accused of sexual harassment, and has a history of heavy substance abuse problems. But these represent the best people. These people earned their positions based on merit. There is no white privilege. White people get everything based on hard work. Don't make me laugh. What they actually represent is the long-standing history of underqualified white people, mediocre, succeeding, and I use that term lightly, based solely upon their whiteness and who they know, and nothing else.
The US was never a real democracy. It was a capitalist circus pretending to be one. And now, Trump's not destroying democracy. He's dragging it into open fascism. And here are the receipts. Trump has declared 8 national emergencies in 100 days. 8. not for hurricanes or disasters, but to dodge Congress and rule by decree. Tariffs, borders, sanctions, trade, energy, you name it. If he doesn't get his way, he just screams, "Emergency!" and grabs power. That's not governance. That's dictatorship with paperwork. Then there is the courts. He tried to kill birthright citizenship with an executive order, a direct violation of the 14th Amendment. He's also using the Supreme Court's shadow docket to fast-track his agenda in the dark, limiting courts from blocking him. No trials, no hearings, just raw power. That's how you hide authoritarianism behind legality. Oh, and in case you missed it, he's deploying the military inside US cities. No joke. He sent 2,000 National Guard and 700 Marines into Los Angeles without state approval using a law from 1798. They even raided farms 130 miles outside the city. Testers, ICE raids, doesn't matter. He's using the military like it's his personal hit squad. Speaking of ICE, yeah, it's gotten worse. Agents are now wearing masks, using unmarked cars, kidnapping immigrants off the street and deporting them with no trial. This isn't immigration enforcement. This is state-sponsored abduction. This is fascist policing. And inside the Department of Justice, even darker. He fired Jack Smith, the prosecutor investigating him, and dismantled the Public Integrity Section, the division that investigates political corruption. Why? So he can't be held accountable for anything. The law no longer applies upwards, only downward. And just to seal the deal, Trump signed Executive Order 1449, claiming to protect free speech. But what it actually does? It forces federal agencies and platforms to suppress dissent. This is textbook propaganda control. George Orwell wasn't warning. Apparently, he was blueprint. So let me say it loud. Trump isn't just a bad president. He's the mask-off version of what capitalism was always capable of. Capitalist democracy was never about freedom. It was always about control. And now, the control is barefaced, militarized, and enforced. This isn't politics. This is fascism in real time. And if you are still waiting for checks and balances to save you, you are already behind. Capitalism didn't fail democracy. It never was democracy. And Trump? Trump just made that impossible to ignore.
Watching all of this play out, you realize something, right? Sometimes exposure is painful, but it forces growth, right? You can't fix what you can't see. You understand? But do you think America needed this moment of honesty, or did it just make everything worse? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's discuss respectfully. Credit goes to all original creators. Please like, share, and subscribe. And quick reminder, this is just for commentary and education only. Thank you so much for tapping in when you saw this, and as usual, I'll see you on my next one.